Welcome to this episode of Resetting Your Compass. As you can see, there's a pile of kit back there, and what I'm doing this week is getting prepared for the polar course up in Norway, which will be next week for 8 days. As you can see, polar training notes. Yep, hundreds and hundreds of pages of what I need to know. So, catch you in a minute. Let's crack on with what you need to do to get prepared for the polar training course. So just before we kick off with what I need to do for the preparation for this polar training course, to bring you up to speed, we came off the Northern Lights, in search of the Northern Lights, which was a great cruise, by the way. But as you can probably hear in my voice, we came off the cruise Thursday morning, and by Saturday morning, I was feeling pretty rough. Something had gone slightly wrong, and I picked up some sort of bug. It's not what everybody expects. Taking several tests, it's not good old Mr. C. This is general flu, cold symptoms, sore throat, blocks up nose, as you can hear. That's going to affect this week, actually, because what it's going to mean is I'm not going to go training until this is clear, because I need to be clear for the week I've got to be in Norway. That's the important bit. So I'm not going to be training this week until that all clears up, and fingers crossed it will. Be honest, it's obviously come along because my body's been a bit run down. If you eat a lot of rubbish like what I've been eating, obviously there's been lots of sugar and salt in there, what I don't normally eat. And also drinking, because when you're on a cruise, you'll drink a lot more alcohol during the evenings than you would, crikey, have alcohol once a week, whereas on that you have it almost every night. So my body's been a bit run down, and that's the reason why I've ended up with this. So my own silly fault, but let's crack on anyway. So the kit I'm going to need for this polar training course, it's similar to my mountaineering kit. Majority of what's on the bed here is my mountaineering kit. However, polar stuff is slightly different. Now, what I've agreed with the guy who's training me is that we're going to sort of fudge it a little bit, and I'm going to take my mountaineering stuff, beg, steal, borrow with a few other things, just to get me through this course. And then I'll be able to see what it is I really need and what I'm going to be taking with me for the next course. I'll refine it to what I actually need myself, because there's certain things I'm going to need, especially because I'm trying a world record attempt as well. There's certain things I won't be taking that are on the kit list. But there's also certain things here that I won't be taking as well, because they're great for mountaineering but of no use whatsoever on the South Pole. So another example where I've got to sort of change it a little bit from what the kit list says to what I actually need. So for example, it says take a pair of salopettes. That's pretty obvious because we're Nordic skiing, so salopettes seems logical. My salopettes are fine, they're lovely, great salopettes, I ski a lot. However, they're not ideal for what we need for this training course. The reason being is they really need a zip down the side, because you're going to be venting a lot of heat. You're going to be able to have to undo those a lot to vent the heat out, which is interesting, to be honest with you. The reason I say that is because, one, I can't get a salopettes that do have zips down the side because of my size. I am far too small, and there's very few manufacturers that actually make salopettes my size. Yes, a lot of them make the length, but they don't make the rise, which is the difference between here and here. Now, if they don't make that, my salopettes end up literally around my armpits. They're absolutely ridiculous. I've had that all my life, but only pretty much one stroke two manufacturers make these, and that's the ones I've got, but they don't make salopettes. I do, however, luckily have a set of climbing pants that I use a lot, and these fellas do have a zip down the side, so I'm able to vent. Now, quite funny, I didn't take these with me to Everest for the exact opposite reason, because when you vent, obviously you undo the zip and then your leg becomes exposed. Now, on a mountain, you can get burnt very, very quickly. And this is going to be one of the questions I asked the polar team, to say, well, if I'm taking these and I'm going to be venting, what is it that's going to be going on here? Am I wearing a pair of under trousers underneath these because it is so cold that I need the under trousers and these will just be venting? Or is it a case that I'll be venting and then having to put sun cream underneath? I'm not really sure how this is going to work. It's one of those things in mountaineering you don't do. You don't have a pair of trousers like this to go at high mountaineering, because you'll end up burning your legs. So, as I say, I'm sort of fudging it, but also questioning what the kit is for and how the kit is used. But update you, obviously, as and when we know. So another thing I've started, and you'll start to see, I'm going to start to look a little bit rougher these days, is I've started to grow a beard. It's only in the first day or 2 days, so and my beard doesn't really grow that well, I'll be honest with you. There's lots of holes in it. It turns out ginger, grey, funny colours. It's multicoloured weird, to be honest with you. But I've started growing it now, so therefore the itchiness goes away, because for the first week or so you are really itchy. Now I'm going to be growing it now through the course, the polar course, because then it'll be gone, the itchiness that is. And then obviously I've got 5 or 6 weeks to do the John O'Groats to Land's End, and I won't be able to shave it there either. So that's why I've started to grow it now. So you'll start seeing this on the video where I start to look a little bit more outdoory than I usually am. Some other good news that's come in this week, really good news. We've got a tent turning up, a one-man tent. We've got some new walking poles turning up. We're organising to get a boot stroke walk trekking shoes fitting sorted by a manufacturer as well. I'll tell you who all these are once I've got everything sorted, but it's really good news. So there's 3 bits of kit that are coming in that I'll do some videos on as well, of exactly how they turn up, what they're like, how they perform, all that sort of stuff as well. But it's really good news. So all those emails I've been sending out, all those chases I've been sending out, all those Twitters, you name it, I've been sending out, they're starting to bear fruit now, and we're getting some free kit on board. Obviously with this type of kit for the polar, once I've been away for a week, I'm going to know exactly what else I do need, and that's when I'm going to start writing to specific suppliers for the polar stuff. But until I've been on the course, I don't really know what I want, so I'm only getting stuff now at the moment for the John O'Groats Land's End, the long tread. But yeah, really, really good. And just to prove it's not just all about sorting out the South Pole training and everything else, personal life's been pretty busy as well. We've got the car, obviously. When we got back, the car has now been written off completely. So sadly, during an accident, they managed to trash my car completely. So we now haven't got a car. However, the courtesy car is still with us from the insurance company. We're presently on the lookout for a new one. We're going to go and see one today. It doesn't need to last very long. It needs to last a couple of years. So we're not looking to buy a brand new car. We're just looking to buy a second-hand car that will get us through for a couple of years until we can go electric. Other than that, the house, well, the house has moved very quickly. As soon as we got off the cruise, we went to the solicitor and we signed all the documents, the TR1s, etc. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we've got an exchange date on buying the new house on the 13th or 14th of March, which would be absolutely awesome. So that'll be really good. We've had loads of viewings for our present house we're selling. We don't need to sell it at the same time, which is really good news. We've had loads of viewings on that. We had an offer come in the other day. We rejected. It's just come through again this morning. I've seen more towards what we wanted, which is really good news. But we do have a couple more viewings coming in, and we'll wait on that. I'm always a chap that says, well, if somebody's booked in to see it, let them see it before accepting somebody else's offer. It's not fair otherwise. So yeah, it's all happening at the moment. It's been pretty busy and full on. So we're trying to get a new car, buy a new house, just been on holiday, now sorting a polar course, getting ready for the long tread in 5 or 6 weeks' time. It really is extremely busy. But that's personal life for you as well. You've got to balance the two. One of the interesting things about sorting this polar course is the travel to actually get there, because this is in a little place in the middle of nowhere. It's literally in the middle of nowhere. And I thought, well, I can get some cheap flights to Norway, which I've managed to do. To be honest with you, it was really strange, because I said, well, because we now live in Herefordshire, we don't live down near Gatwick or Heathrow, which is where most of the flights to Norway go from. So I was looking to see if I can get from either Bristol or Birmingham. That's fine, we could, but the trouble is, when you click it in there, it was ridiculous. One of the flights was great price, which is stupidly cheap, but I was flying from Birmingham to Paris back to Ireland, don't know why. Ireland then went off to Amsterdam, I think it was, and Amsterdam onto Norway. And it took, 24 hours, but it was stupidly priced. It was something like 50 quid. And I'm thinking, how could it possibly be 50 quid to bounce all around all those flights? Not one I took, obviously. What I am doing, however, is I'm flying, the actual journey that I've got to take is, I've got to go from here to Ludlow train station. Ludlow train station takes me up to Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury then takes me up to Birmingham International, which is right next to the airport, which is great news. Then get on the plane, that takes me to Schiphol Airport over in Amsterdam. Amsterdam, I then get another plane, get off to Bergen over in Norway. I then get the shuttle bus or shuttle train, another 45 minutes because the airport isn't in Bergen. That then gets me to Bergen. Then I've got to get another train, a long train, right the way through to the centre of Norway. Get off the train in the middle of nowhere, and then the chapel on the training course will pick me up and we'll be staying there. So that'd be pretty good. On the way back, it's the exact opposite. So it's getting to the train station to Bergen, then I have to get back out to the airport goes to Copenhagen this time. Copenhagen then comes back into Birmingham International, Shrewsbury, Ludlow, etc. So it's a bit of a up and down, but there again, if you're doing this type of stuff, that's what you've got to do. So you'll find if you ever do any sort of specialist training, it's not organised through a tour operator. You can't just ring them up and everything happens. You've got to do it all yourself. It does mean, however, you're never actually covered by the travel regulations when you do anything like this. That may sound a bit weird. You've heard about ATOL and things like that. But say, for example, if the course was cancelled, I couldn't then claim back all my travel. So whereas with an agent, you buy a package. Now, if one bit of the package falls down, you get your money back for the whole thing. So that happens a lot when I was mountaineering as well, because I was buying the flights separate to the mountains. It's the same here. See that same. But that's just an example of what this week's already thrown up on Monday, getting all that sorted out. Quite a lot of hours of paperwork just to get the travel sorted out. But we're done. We're there. It's great. So we've actually been really busy still this last couple of days as well. We've now finalised the route. It's really good. It's on my Google Maps. It's all sorted now. So we know exactly where we're going, where we're stopping. It's all the way down the country. So that is done. Obviously, as long as everything goes to plan, things do change. So let's see what happens. That is 42 days, by the way. I know I've put 44 days aside for this. That's 2 days spare for rest days if I need them. I'll only use them if I need them, because I'd like to do the whole thing back to back. Because then that simulates more of the challenge of going to the South Pole than it does just not doing. So all being well, all is good. I've even sorted out the wild campsites in Scotland. I've got all them sorted as well, so we know exactly where we're going to be staying, which is great news. And I've just, strange enough, yesterday wrote an email to a very tiny little village in the middle of nowhere, which is where I needed to stay, and they've kindly let me stay at the car park for the village hall, which is awesome news. Safe, tidy, clean, brilliant for wild camping. Also this morning, literally why I'm recording this video, at the same time, we've just received a confirmation that we're going to be in an article in a very famous magazine as well, which is really good news. What I'm actually waiting for, I've got to get some pictures back to them on tomorrow, Wednesday, because we're picking up, guess what we're picking up today? We are picking up the flags that go around the tyre today. So this is the big banner that goes around the tyre saying the long tread 3 times. Really good, that is, and then I can get it on the tyre tomorrow, get some really good pictures for this article that's going in a famous magazine that obviously I can't tell you about until the article comes out, but that's been really good news. Yet again, we're in another article in a really good magazine as well. Anyway, talking about that, we've got to get the flags back, so we're going to go pop down to Hereford today. We've got to go down there anyway, so it falls in pretty well. We'll pick up the flags, and then tomorrow I'll get them around the bottom of the tyre, see how that looks, and then the flags that got the side for the companies, we're getting them done in about 3 weeks' time, when I know exactly which company flags are going on there. But this is the long tread bit, which is going to be the bit that most people see when I'm walking down the road. So yeah, it's all happening at the moment. The flag was being put together when I was away. It's all printed up, so we're looking forward to what that looks like. Really, really good. Sorry, as you can see, still suffering from that bit of a cold there. So there's a couple more things we've got done as well this week. I tell you, it's been really busy these last 3 days. It really has. We've applied for another grant, fingers crossed. We haven't heard back from the others yet. I'll start chasing those. We've finished off the Facebook groups, because I've gone to the Facebook groups in every town and city I'm coming through from John and Groats Land's End, getting to the local groups on Facebook. It just means that I can put out the information when I'm travelling through there to come along and see us, and hopefully that will increase the amount of donations we get. That's why I'm doing it. And that took a long, long time to track all that, but that's all now on a spreadsheet, and I'm a member of all the groups. I think there's 2 that I've got to approve me still, nothing major, and I'll just track those as I go. So that's really good news. And the other thing we're doing, we were connecting with the influencers. We've made a big database of the influencers we're going to be using on, they're the people on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, are very influential because of the sheer volume of followers they have. Bumped into a great one yesterday, and we've connected on Twitter. She is actually an ambassador for the outdoor show, which is happening in Birmingham in March. I think it's 18th, 19th of March this year. I've actually applied to be an ambassador for them now, after yesterday, bumping into them, and fingers crossed I can do that, because that'll also enable me to get to know that community more, and also the people who are doing the talks, and hopefully I get some talks there, because I've done a lot of talks in the past, and this is going to lend itself for doing lots of talks to get lots of money for the charity, which is really, really good news. Just to let you know, we're still actually on Tuesday morning. We've still got to pick up the flags this afternoon. Tomorrow we'll get all the photos done for that article with the tyre, etc. We've got lots more to do through chasing influence and things like that. And obviously we've got to get all this kit sorted out. I still have quite a few bits of the kit list to get packed away, and then I've got to sort it out. 23 kilos is my max, so I've got to sort all that. That'll be quite busy in the next few days. So yeah, got a lot to do to get our flight out of here on Saturday. So as you can see, very, very busy. So for all those out there who want to know how you attempt a world record attempt on the South Pole, I am well over a year and a half out from this, and see the sheer volume of things you've got to do to get this done. People always think things come together. It isn't. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and as you can hear from my voice, at the moment there's going to be no training. I'm hoping by Friday this is cleared up and I at least get to go out and drag the tyre for a few hours, even if it's an hour, I don't care. It will be really good, or at least get on the ski machine. Anyway, let's crack on, and I'll update you shortly. Well, as you can see, the amount of kit on the bed is increasing. During the week, I've just been basically going around and picking things up that I know I'm going to need and put them on the bed. It's the easiest way. This is the way I tend to do my packing. And then I actually go through the proper kit list just to triple check I've got everything and I've not missed anything out. One thing I wanted to highlight, though, is the sleeping mat. Now, this fella, you take mountaineering, you take it to -75 is what it goes down to. And this is your roll mat. You simply sleep on this. During my mountaineering, I've always been told to take one of these simple foam ones, and only one of these. Now, the reason being is you can't really go wrong with this. It's very lightweight, it's simple, and it protects you down to -75. However, on the polar course, they've asked for one of these, plus a thermarest. They call it a thermarest. Basically, it's the one you blow up. It's very thin, but you blow up your mattress. And they've also said take a pump as well to blow it up. Now, that was always a big no-no in mountaineering. It's very logical why it's a big no-no, because if those thermarests burst, of which I've had one burst in the past, just general camping, there's no way of fixing it. Well, there is, but they then say take a puncture repair kit. Now, if you've ever tried to find a hole in a tyre, it's almost impossible. So how on earth you'd find it in a mattress with lots of bumps on it, I don't know. So I'm not taking a thermarest, and I'm not taking a pump either. One, weight, but also it's a piece of equipment that can very quickly become completely waste of weight and also not used. So I'm going to be interested to see when we get to the polar course exactly what the reasoning was behind that, because sometimes you've got to make a decision on your own to go with what you think is right, and that is what I think is right. So we're going with this, guys, only this, and we're not taking the thermarest or the pump purely because it's a piece of equipment that can fail very easily and it's pretty useless. So anyway, just wanted to highlight that. So today what I'm going to be doing is going through the whole of my kit, packing it all up, getting it into a huge great bag, and getting on our way on Saturday. So I'll keep you updated, but some interesting bits about kit there. So this is all the headwear I'm going to need. First off, you have a nice beanie hat. It just keeps you generally warm, mainly around the tent, but it's actually good for if you're working pretty hard out and about skiing. That's pretty good. On top of that, then you've got a full face mask. This is complete face mask. Now, I've actually sewn up the sides slightly on these, because otherwise what happens is when it wraps around your face, you get a little tiny bit of there that never covers the skin, and therefore you end up getting burnt just at the side of your face, which you really don't want. And obviously in extreme cold you get frostbite as well, so that's what I've done with that. On top of that, you've got glacier glasses. These basically wrap around your face. They're there to make sure no light gets in. I've actually got 2 sets of these. Reason being is because on one of my expeditions, I actually sat on my glacier glasses, snapped them, and from that point forward, they were useless. So I always take a double set of those. Got a neoprene face mask. This is when it's really, really cold. This goes over your face and nose and everything else. Really, really good. Keeps you really, really warm. Obviously, ski goggles. Going to be wearing them a heck of a lot. These aren't actually mine. These are my wife's, hence why they're pink. Mine aren't that good because I don't really bother wearing the goggles, to be honest, when I'm skiing, but my wife's are really good. And finally, a buff to go around your neck. So one of the extra little thing I always take is this little nose guard. Now, this goes over your glasses, for example, at the front of your glasses here. And that covers your nose from the sun. Really, really good. One of the best pieces of equipment that I've ever bought is this little nose guard. It stops you getting burnt. So that's just an example of what you need just for your head in something like this. You've got a lot of different things there to use in a lot of different ways. But it is all essential. It's all getting packed now. And so interesting. I'll get some pictures of them out there showing you exactly how I'm using this stuff as well. Yeah. People who followed me up Everest will know what this is, but basically it's 2 bottles here. One, this fella with tape around it, is for in the tent when you need to go to the toilet because it's far too cold to go outside. And this fella is a water bottle. The reason you got tape around it is to make sure you know which one is the one you go to the toilet in. But also using tape is a very, very good idea because the tape can be used for many, many things. So if something rips, you've got tape here that you can easily use, take off, and then put it on the rip as well. So that's why it has tape on it. Yeah, that's the difference between two water bottles. Don't get them mixed up. The drinking and eating is actually quite simple. You've got the neoprene bottles which you're drinking out of. You've actually got this neoprene layer. Now this keeps things warm and obviously protects you from getting frozen as well. You need a couple of these to make sure that happens. I personally take a couple of hot flasks rather than just one. Most people just take a 1 litre. I take 2 half litres. Therefore, you can split things if you want to, just a water and orange or something. Personally, I find it a little bit easier and better. Good old spork. If you've ever seen one of these, simple as what it is. It's a fork and a spoon. Very, very good. And last but not least is a mug. Now, I can't find my mug for some reason. No idea where it's gone. So that's one thing I might have to purchase. But it's basically a plastic mug, and in that you can drink out of it, put all your food in there, add hot water into it. That's pretty much what it is. So that's the eating side of it sorted. So folks, everything's back in the bags now. It's all done. That's packed. The expedition bag is all done. That's ready to go on the sledge. I'll just take a bit of kit out, obviously for wearing itself, but that's ready to go. This is just my take on luggage. This is for the couple of days either end. General clothes and stuff for that. That's nothing to do with the expedition. That's probably getting from A to B. That's the expedition stuff ready to go. So it can all fit in one bag. Really, really good. I'm really happy about that. So it's really good. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed seeing what kit and how you organise the stuff for actually going on the expedition. Next week we'll be actually on expedition, obviously on the training course itself, so I'll be doing recordings right from when I start travelling right the way through the expedition as much as possible. This is going to be a bit of a test for myself as well. Please let me apologise about the microphone on the phone. I'm going to have to order a new phone because something's wrong with the mic itself. You're not hearing that funny clicking noise. It is actually in the phone itself. I had a good Google to find out what it is. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Really do. Come back next week and see how the expedition itself got on. And then remember, just 5 or 6 weeks to go to the long tread. Thanks again. Catch you soon.